Hi, fifth grade. All right, we're going to continue with Crash. The last time we read, Scooter had showed up and surprised Abby and Crash. That is their grandfather. It would be Crash's mom's dad. And he was in the Navy and he's a good cook. So we're looking forward to having some good food. And that he's going to, and he did say that he was going to live with them. So let's continue and find out. And mom had announced that she was going to be working more hours because she got part of the mall that she's a real estate agent, so she was going to be doing that. And Abby decided that the mall must stall, so she is going to be protesting against the new mall. So we're going to find out what kind of turmoil that causes in their family. Okay, chapter 20. Abby and I fought over who got to carry Scooter's suitcase up to his room. I won. As usual, when he came to his picture in the hallway gallery, he had to stop and say, "Now there's a handsome young man. I wonder who that is." The painting shows the sailor with his white hat cocked down to one eyebrow and his mouth open like he's saying something. If it wasn't hanging on the hallway, I never would have guessed it was my grandfather. The sailor is so young. My mother told us it was the first portrait she ever did. She was still in high school. He knocked on the wall. "Nice bulkhead, too." We groaned, which was what he wanted. It's Navy talk. A bulkhead is a wall. A door is a hatch. The kitchen is a galley. The dining room is the mess, and the stairway is a ladder. We dragged him away from the bulkhouse to his room. It was the guest room, actually, but when we turned on the light and walked in, I had the warmest feeling, knowing he'd be there for good. I put his suitcase on the bed. Guess this isn't a guest room anymore, I said. The three of us looked at each other and broke into giggles. Scooter started unpacking. Abby said, "Aren't you going to miss the ocean?" Since he retired, Scooter had been living in a rooming house in Cape May, New Jersey. He said he wanted to be able to see the ocean every day. He took out a stack of boxer shorts with red and blue anchors on them. "Sure," he said. "When I start feeling that way, I'll just fill up the bathtub." Before he could stop her, Abby snatched the top pair of shorts and pulled them on over her jeans. She checked herself in the mirror. "Oh, Scooter, can I have these, please? Just one pair?" Scooter looked at me like he had just seen an oyster from outer space. I shrugged. Fifth grade girls. Abby crouched, pleading in front of him. "Please, please," with sugar on top. Scooter just blinked. He still wasn't connecting. "See what your mother says," he said. Abby squealed and gave us a fashion show. I asked Scooter, "What about your sea chest?" The sea chest is a trunk filled with the stuff he picked up from all over the world: a wooden mask from Africa, a silk robe from Japan. We would rummage through the chest whenever we visited him in Cape May. He held up a key. "I put it in storage." "Aren't you bringing it with you?" I asked him. He took out our school pictures, the big ones with frames. "This is the important stuff," he said, and put those on his dresser. Later, the three of us were sitting in Scooter's bed. This is something that goes way back to when Abby and I were little. We used to climb into his bed in our pajamas. It would be dark outside. The only light would be from the hallway, and Scooter would tell his stories. Not cuddle your teddy bear stories, but screamer stories. Tremble stories. Sink your teeth into your teddy bear stories. My parents know what's going on, so they don't call the police when they hear their kids screaming bloody murder. And I mean to tell you, when he says he's in the jungle on a moonless night, or in the back alley of Hong Kong, or in a salt swamp infested with sea crocs, well, you are there with him. And when he tells you to check the vine you feel on your leg and you look to see if it's a vine at all, but a 30-foot anaconda already coiled 3 times around your leg, well, you gulp and you shriek, and you might even grab your little sister for dear life. When we're good and quaking under the covers, Scooter will finish up with some lighter stuff. It's like it's like dessert. Sometimes he tells us about the foot hunters of Bora Bora instead of the head hunters. Get it? How they go off lopping off people's feet and shrink them and wear them around their necks. He also tells us about his pet Ollie, the one-armed octopus. He found Ollie one day while skin diving off the coast of Greece. At first, he thought he was looking at some kind of pregnant sea snake or a eel. Then he realized it was the ends backward, and it was an octopus with 7 of its legs chewed off in a fight with something Scooter hoped he would never meet up with himself. The octopus was flopped and all forlorn on the bottom sand, trying to pry open a scallop. Its head was the size of a softball, and its one tentacle was less than 2 feet long. Scooter took it back to the ship, named it Ollie, and for years took it almost everywhere he went in a bucket of seawater. This time, Scooter told us about the day they worked in the carnival sideshow with Ollie as the world's biggest sea worm. When Scooter finished, we all just sat there soaking up the good times. Abby piped, "Can we do this every night, from now on and forever?" Scooter pretended to swoon. "Scooter," she said, then hesitated. She was thinking hard. "Scooter." He leaned back against the headboard with a contented smile. "Hmm?" She hesitated some more. I knew what was happening. We both grew up thinking Scooter's bed was the safest place in the whole world, like a boat in the sea full of cracks. In fact, we used to call it our bedboat. It was a place where you could say anything out loud that you might only think anywhere else. I remember once when I was little, I had a big confession to make about something I had done. I waited for weeks till Scooter showed up. I grabbed him in the driveway, dragged him up to the bed, whipped out my pajamas. I couldn't wait until dark, and confessed. Whatever Abby wanted to say, we were probably the first people to hear it. "Scooter," she repeated his name a third time, "don't you think our grass is too short?" Scooter just stared at her. "What kind of dumb question is that?" I said. "Scooter," she whined, "isn't it?" "If you say it's too short," he said, "then it's too short." "And how would you like our backyard to look?" And how would you like to look out the back window and see a rabbit, or maybe even a raccoon?" Scooter nodded. "That would be nice." She crouched on her knees, leaned into him, and out it came. "Well, here's what I did. See, I found out at school there's these things called wildlife habitats. You can have one in your own backyard as long as it's big enough." She bounced on her knees, springs squeaking. "And ours is. I rode away to Washington, D.C., and I found out all you need to do. Like, you have to have water and food and cover. That means tall grass and weeds and wood piles and stuff, and nesting places. And then when you do all that, you draw it up in a plan and send it in. And if it's good enough, they send you a certificate, and you have an official backyard wildlife habitat." She stopped to take a breath. "And then," said Scooter, "the animals move in." Abby yipped, "Right! Animals and birds. We give them a place to be. We save them." Scooter grinned. "From the shopping centers?" "Exactly." She reached out and stroked his arm. "And my nice, sweet, wonderful, lovable big brother is going to build me an observation post in the cherry tree so I can observe the wildlife." I pulled my arm away. I laughed. "Dream on." Scooter thought for a minute, then nodded. "I like it, but it's not my backyard." Meaning, of course, it's my parents'. I was thinking of my father, who cuts the grass and edges it with a weed whacks it, and uses a Chemlon truck that sprays it. And my mother, who used to throw fits because I dug holes and buried her flowers. And that's not counting my own opinion. "I think it sucks," I said. "I'll take a maw over a stupid raccoon any day." Abby pressed her palms together like a prayer. "Scooter, pop, pop, you say something to them. Tell them what a great idea it is, okay?" She lifted her praying hands to his nose. "Please." "You keep planning it," he said, "and we'll see." She squealed and hugged him. He glanced over his shoulder at the clock, and I knew he was ready to kick us out. I didn't want to leave yet. I had to come up with something fast, a question, and there it was, right in front of me, where it must have been all my life. "Why is your name Scooter?" I said. I was hoping that this would be like a half-hour story behind it, but all he said was, "Oh, I was a speedy little bugger when I grew up. One time somebody said, 'Look at him scoot.' And that was that." He turned on the lamp. "Okay, swabbies, bedtime." Abby kissed him. I shook his hand, and I turned at the door. "Did you ever run in the Penn relays?" He frowned. "What's that?" "Oh, nothing. Good night. Batten the hatch on your way out, mates." The end. All right. So go to Google Classroom and answer the question, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.